right. First and foremost, I want to say, Call Halayim, La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors due to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and safety to the Lord's elect. This is the brother Yeshaya, and this is going to be a movie review. I know I'm probably hella late. It's all good though, but this is going to be about the movie A House of Dynamite. Okay, now this movie, I just got done watching it. It was pretty good. Okay, it was depicting a nuclear crisis, or whatnot. I'm sure brothers have watched it, but I'm gonna give my spiritual 2 cents on it. But yeah, so without further ado, here it is, man. Just an overview. It was a very Jake heavy movie. As you can see, Idris Elba is on the screen. They didn't reveal till later in the movie that he was actually the president. Okay, they had him blocked out when it was like sequences. They had it to where they was in Alaska at a headquarters, and then they had it to where basically they was in certain different places, and they ended with him. It's lucky. And they ended with him in a helicopter or whatnot. And they never showed the actual nuke landing, but it's all in all still a good movie. You can they left that up to imagination. But like I said, it was a very Jake heavy movie. The president was a Jake. The head of FEMA, I think she was like I forgot the title, but it was a Keisha. Had her gold necklace, gold chain, gold nose ring in, and she was just chilling. She's on Zillow looking. Typical Keisha, supposed to be working. She on Zillow looking for apartments and places to stay. When all of a sudden, that urgent message came in that, hey, this is real, which is, symbolic of what's going to happen. The scriptures say that this day is going to come like a thief in the night to certain people. All right. Especially Keishas. But anyway, yeah, basically it's just a predictive programming, and also part of the sorcery and the witchcraft that Esau Edom does. Okay. By putting things in the movies to work on your subconscious to where, when this thing does happen, you'll be more readily available to absorb it, right? So, yeah, pretty good movie, like I said, but it's just this thing is really gonna happen, all right? And the scriptures detail, about the thermonuclear missiles, all right, which are gonna, be sent off in the midst of World War III. So, without further ado, we're gonna hit these scriptures. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 91, and verse, I'm going to start at 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. What's the secret place in this word? In having a Rakah HaKodash in you. Okay, the names. Okay, that just to name a few of what the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. All right. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid by the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. Okay, so just talking about thermonuclear missiles, man. When they begin to get sent into the atmosphere from the far sides of the earth, then hey, it's a wrap, and they're gonna do a lot of destruction, man, because the Lord Himself said it. He said He's gonna put His spirit within them. Okay, He's gonna direct them. The angels are gonna direct them to every spot that they need to be at, and plus on top of that, they're gonna be coupled with the chariots of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So it's gonna be total annihilation. Okay. Verse 7, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. So, hey, Lord willing, we'll be up in those chariots by the time, all this thermonuclear missile get, shot off. And, yeah, and also in the movie, they didn't pinpoint who actually initiated the strike. But I found it interesting that it was landing in Chicago, you know, and it was speculation that it was either North Koreans or the Russians saying or doing it to make it look like it was the fault of the uh, North Koreans. But anyway, nonetheless, those two were mentioned, and that was pretty interesting to me. Second Ezra 16:16, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that should be sent unto earth shall not return again. Okay, man, I got to start up. Let's start at 12. The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Lord, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the earth world. And that's just what I said. I quoted earlier, basically, or I said earlier that the Lord is going to be directing these things himself, okay, by by the angels, like he does everything. Basically the angels are his mighty men that they execute his judgment. So, hey, anywhere that these missiles need to hit, they're going to hit, and I already know some pinpoints, some marks that they're going to hit over here. They're going to hit Statue of Liberty, okay, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Chicago for sure. And all and different of these different of these wicked places, man. Okay, because this is spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, and I believe some of those cities I just named are part of those 5 cities. All right, through the Spirit, but I speak as a man. All right. The earthquake is just like it. Verse 14, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come unto the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. All right. So there you go. And these after this thermonuclear missile annihilation, we won't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, it's going to cleanse the earth, take Esau out of his power seat, and do everything that the Lord said it would, accomplish everything that the Lord said he would. All right. And, I'm just going through a couple scriptures that detail this in the scriptures. All right, Revelation 9 and verse 12. One woe is past, and therefore there come 2 woes more after. So this is talking about World War. World War One. This is, describes World War One, and then the 2 others that comes after. It doesn't really describe World War Two, but World War Three is mentioned in the second Ezra, the 13th chapter, and also when it talks about the earth being shook and shaken, like I'm gonna bring up later in the lesson. That's gonna happen in the midst of World War Three. And the 6th angel, well, it's like, yeah, okay. So it says, for the power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like serpents, and they had heads, and with them they do hurt. Now, this is talking about, the missiles that were around then, but you can also equate it to the thermonuclear missiles, because they have warheads in them as well. Okay. They have and that's the warheads. Okay. And they do hurt. All right. And those warheads, they're devastating. All right. Because that's where the power is. The missile system, that's the guiding system. Okay. The propeller system, and I'm not an expert, but just how a missile is made up. Okay. Just as an arrow, as the prophets have explained before time, because they were basically held to the verbiage that was around back then. All right, Jeremiah 51:1, thus saith the Lord, behold, I raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind, and will send upon Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigandine, and spirit not her young men, destroy ye utterly all hosts. Okay, so it's gonna be this destroying wind. Okay, is the actual thermonuclear missiles. All right, the fallout. And also, he said he was sent from Babylon fanners. Okay, and I believe right here this is the angels. Okay, like I said, that's going to direct and keep it, intact, or keep it right where it needs to be to completely destroy Babylon the Great, as the scriptures detail. You know, so yeah, Isaiah chapter 54 and verse 16. Behold, I've created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. Okay, so he put on the minds of these scientists to, Oppenheimer and all these guys, to Einstein or whatnot, and Oppenheimer and all that, to make this thermonuclear missiles that are hotter than the conventional fire that the Lord created. Okay, and also, America is ready. Like this, the movie said, a house of dynamite. Babylon the Great is a house of dynamite, because man, everywhere you go, there's everywhere you look, there's what's the word, flammables, or things that are flammable. You got oil, you got stuff in the water, in the air, you name it. Okay, it's this place is ready to be ignited. All right, and the Lord set that up. Okay, and this scripture says it's gonna burn forever. All right, and that's and when you look up that word forever, it's basically for an age, basically for a time. So the Lord can say forever because He operates outside of the constraints of time. So if He says forever, it could be just a time, a moment in time. So there's no telling how long Babylon the Great is going to be, on fire. But hey, it's going to be on fire for a while. It's going to burn and do what the Lord said. Okay, so yeah, and He says, and bring forth an instrument for His work. He created the waster to destroy. And what did Oppenheimer said? He said he fears now that something along the lines that he has become the destroyer of worlds, or something along those lines. Okay, now, that's interesting that if ties in with that, you know. Um, Isaiah 9:5, one of my favorite ones that the brother you call always brings out. Isaiah 9:5, for every battle of the warriors with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So your conventional wars, they were the clinking of swords, the war cries, the cries of being stabbed, losing a limb, sounds of arrows. Just think of a conventional war when you watch a Game of Thrones, or shit like that. But this one is going to be with burning and fuel of fire. Okay, and means that Isaiah was prophesying about the thermonuclear missiles before time, before way before the inception of a ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile. Okay, and the technology behind them things are amazing, because Yahweh Shem Yahushua did what? Created the smith to smite and the waster to destroy. So this is out of your world, otherworldly type of destruction that's going to happen. All right. Isaiah 34:4, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off of the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. All right. And I chose that because, the apostles brought back a while back, these thermonuclear missiles, they're going to enter the atmosphere and basically fall like a fig. A fig doesn't fall really straight down. It falls and makes a curve. So that's really symbolic of those missiles exiting the atmosphere and re-entering. Okay. So I found that pretty interesting, how the Lord had it to where his prophets, described it in such an eloquent way, describing simple things, like figs and a scroll. Matter of fact, since we're already here, let's go to this is the last one. All right. Revelation 6 and 13. And the stars of heaven fell under the earth. See, and here you go. This is the back of the prophet Isaiah. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Okay, there you go. So it's likening the falling of a missile into the falling of a fig. Like I said, it makes a curvature. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Okay, nobody but the elect, because the elect are going to be safe in chariots, come up here, even if it be for a while, to escape the indignation of the Lord, roughly paraphrasing. All right. And that's the hope that we have. So, and those bunkers that the military and you so-called, and you can see it in this movie. They had certain underground bases that they were operating out of. All right. So this is that. You know what I'm saying? And also those the elitists, all right, the bankers and everything like that, they're gonna be hiding, okay, in these bunkers, and then they're just gonna want to die. It's gonna be so catastrophic, okay, all right, and they're not. They're just gonna be the first fruits of slavery, all right. But yeah, man, I just want to end it with that. Lord willing, it was edifying, quick, straight to the point, giving our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors due to the apostles, the bishops, the elders, the great millstone. Peace, blessings, and safety to the Lord's elect. Shalom.